Hello everyone, my name is Adiyemo Adegbemiga Ganiu and I welcome you to my new Yoruba Abrahamic YouTube video. In today's video, which I'll be doing, it shall be the continuation and the part 3 of my Oranmiyan of Oyo, the African King Solomon series, which I've been on for quite some days now. And for those who are just coming by my channel for the first time through this video, I will also implore you to watch the part 1 and part 2 for, so it will give you a proper means of blending into this part 3 I'm currently doing with what I'm about to say along with it. And if you are also among those who haven't subscribed yet, please remember to subscribe. Let me press the like, turn on the notification bell, and share it to different platforms. You'll be doing me a great deal, and it will only encourage me to bring you more of this, more and more. Let's jump into today's topic. In this part of part 3, let me retouch on some of the few points I've made in my previous part 1 and part 2, at least for the sake of those who don't want to go back. Generally, the whole concept of Abrahamic term and name was actually forged around the Yoruba people's most greatest king of all time, known as Oduduwa or Oduduwa, under a new Abrahamic rephrased name through something like Dawood or Dawuda or Dawudu or King David, like you mostly know him of. And also, the collective siblings of this Oduduwa or King David are now the ethnic related group that you can see near Yoruba land inside Nigeria mostly, like those people of the South, part of the Middle East, and straight down to West Africa, at least not all the entire West Africa. And collectively, this group of new ethnic groups are 12 in numbers. People of like of the Benin, the Shekiris, the Igala, the Nukwe, the Gad of Ghana and Co. They all share similarities directly and indirectly with the Yoruba people under new Yoruba identity name. So, because they were all linked to one father, who is Akobi or Enitoju Akobi Law, like I've said, these are title and nicknames, not the real name of the Orisha or someone being referred to Akobi. Also, the collective political debt and the empire might of these people collectively as a lineage group of the same bloodline, directly and indirectly, became why they are also be collectively referred to as the Lions of Judah. Lions means one in a phrase. It's like me, a very fierce one, like an idiom, a fierce, but that guy is a lion. It means that guy is bold, is strong. So collective lion of Judah. Judah now serves as the central meeting point, the umbrella that united them, leading to why the Judah center is still at Oduduwa Empire, which is King David in today's Ile-Ife, just as it will be cited in 1767 map as it's reflected. Another thing we also need to touch again had to do with the 7 children of this Oduduwa, his own bloodline, whose people or whose sons, individual sons and their respective direct lineage has now become the main Oba, king of modern day Yoruba king across West Africa and inside Nigeria, like Oba Shake, Alakiketu, Oranmiyan and Co. Another part we also should not ignore had to do with the Ife. The Ife people, they are not just the ancient that predated all the new Yoruba ethnic groups. They are also the ancient humans in the entire universe, because humanity started from West Africa. I don't know people came about the other one. Humanity started from West Africa, particularly from Osun State. And likewise, why they are distant relative people, like those who are partially related to the Yoruba people, either through the mother's side, the father's side, they are who we refer to as the Hebrew. Ebi àti ará àwọn Ewe, family and relatives of the Ewe. Ewe has always been the focus tribe, just like we have Ewe, salvations of the Ewe. Now is Ebi àwọn àti ará, relative to the Ewe people, because prior before the Yoruba people got the general umbrella term name of Yoruba, they were known by different names like Lokumi, Ewe, Anago, and stuff like that. That is exact. So it's all about the Ebi àti ará mean distant relative. You can see them across. In a nutshell, all these people became who the Oranmiyan and Oduduwa, better understood as King Solomon and David in Abrahamic belief, now ruled over, just as the Quran itself also acknowledged. They ruled over them. The Quran even said that they ruled with justice, fairness, and everything. So the parts we are going to touch on have to do with depth details of what I've said in part 2, relating to how extent the Oranmiyan Empire, because it is through Oranmiyan glory, empire, legacy that the Yoruba people became people figure of the map. It was through Oranmiyan that we became in the map of the world in antiquity, because Oranmiyan was a fierce warrior. He fought so many battles. He forced people to humble before Yoruba land. He placed so many Yoruba people in sensitive places inside and across Africa and beyond up to China. This is what they don't tell. So I shall be breaking it down in depth. You will now understand why Oduduwa is not just the father of all Yoruba kings today. His son also pushes his legacies to the limit that we don't seem to recognize today, after the colonial border has reduced us to the small western part of Nigeria. If you ask me, the question we now ask that who were now the descendant of Oranmiyan or King Solomon, as it may be, who are also known as the Judean or the lost tribe of the Jews that is being referred to in Congo region. Because you can see such references in Pendangra's book, the one that was actually reported in 2018, that there are some forgotten Jews in Congo. How did they get there? Who were they? And how did I relate with Oranmiyan? These people, particularly from my own particular findings, there might be other depth of added additional narratives to this, but this is very certain through the means I use this to get my information. Mostly, according to me, these people are the Mongo and the Loba ethnic group of people in Congo of today. If you ask me, how did I come about this answer? All I did was just to trace back the most enslaved ethnic group of Negro in Congo region that were taken alongside the other Niger people in West Africa during the transatlantic slave trade. That was how I was able to know the very people of Oranmiyan in Congo. Because at the time of the 18th century, when the transatlantic slave trade was still being in process, the Yoruba people across West Africa weren't just the only people taken to the New World. They also took the Congo people as well. And it's all because they are related to the same Yoruba people. And the fact now is all these Negro that were taken to the New World, either from Congo, either from Yoruba land directly here, either from Dahomey, either from Ghana, all of these people, they have just one thing in common. They are all traditionalists. None of them is a religionist. All of them were all traditionalists. Leading to why today in Brazil, in Cuba, in Haiti, you can still find them still practicing the same Yoruba tradition which they went with, because they refused to let go of their ancient fathers' ancestry, their ancient father spiritualism, their ancient father legacy. They held on to it tightly today. So because of that, the earlier Congo descendant slave as well that were taken to Cuba, only for us to now find them that they are typical Yoruba people by culture, and they are still practicing that same Isheshe practice till today, even though it has now been referred to as Palo Congo, similar to Santeria, after being mixed with other religions. And in today till history, they still addresses themselves as Yoruba Congo. You know, when they dub themselves as Yoruba Congo, this is what you guys need to know. Each time you hear the term Niger Congo, or just as the Cuba people now refer to them till today, after thousands of years, after hundreds of years, as Yoruba Congo, you should know that the name Yoruba name is a recent name that was just given to us in late 19th century officially, but that doesn't mean the name doesn't exist. But prior before then, the Yoruba people doesn't have a stable name. They were being referred by different names, like I said earlier. So for you to be called either Niger Congo, directly or indirectly, you are still referring to that. You are still referring yourself as Anogo or Anago Congo, and Anago is Yoruba. It's just that then the weren't known as Yoruba, we were dubbed as random names. So if we were being referred to as Yoruba then during the transatlantic slave trade, you guys, the Congo people would have now still be called Yoruba Congo. But now, because of based on the name Yoruba people were known for then, they are now being referred to as Anago Congo. or Negro Congo or Niger Congo or Mologo Congo, they are still referring to the same Yoruba descendants. And you can never still take the fact away that these same Yoruba people has been proved, these Congo people has been scientifically, archaeologically proven to have migrated all the way from the same West African Negro land, Yoruba land, before they settle over to central Congo. So they all came from Yoruba land, and history facts are also proving it 10,000 years ago. So all of these are further to be proven that the unknown founder of the Congo kingdom was actually a Luhanimi, according to them. And also it is a obvious name. Luanimi is an obvious logic of a name derived from Lukumi. Lukumi is another name for Yoruba. This is why I said whether the man is like they are saying that a Yoruba man founded Congo. You can as well say a Negro man founded Congo. You can say a Lukumi man founded Congo. That is where the idea of logic of this Lukenimi that they said, it is in their oral tradition that this was the man that founded the kingdom of Congo. Why the Yoruba attribute of this person also became why they also refer to him as a warrior. You know, Oranmiyan is a warrior. They also refer to him as an adventurer, an hunter. Oranmiyan started his life as an hunter. Then also as an hero. Oranmiyan as well is also a deity. Apesini, Orisha. They refer to the person who founded this first ever kingdom in Congo, that he has this attribute, and you know that this is all about Oranmiyan being a conqueror, a man who embark on a quest journey all the way from West Africa and reaches the land of China or Asia. Yeah, of course, he has to pass through Central Africa. And it wasn't a coincidence that this same part of Congo was named after the same Oranmiyan West African Oyole. Oyo, this is why we have correlation between Oyole, Oyo in Congo. We have Katanga. Katanga is all about Oranmiyan, directly and indirectly. And the people were Yoruba today, even though they've now adopted different tribes, because different migration in and out of Central Africa, like that of the Asiatic people in southern part of Africa, who are now being under the terms of Bantu. You know, the Bantu story is another story entirely. I'm only narrowing it towards the part that reflected my home people. Of course, after years, some non-tribe come into the mix and making the history now being diluted and very complicated for people to just give a basic understanding, to give a basic details of how they came to be. In a nutshell, Oranmiyan, aka King Solomon, proceeded his extended empire and political influences to North Africa, just as first king made it highlighted, as the first king made us realize the length at which Oranmiyan ruled from Ile-Ife of Oyo in Negro land straight down to the border of Egypt, which is the Sudan area. And we know that Sudan would be more easier for him, because Sudan was actually founded by the same Yoruba ancestry, by Yoruba Oba Alara. But the Mero region also happens to be the center where different random group across Africa, Ibiti Ọ̀pọ̀ Omi Èrò tó máa ń péjọ sí. This is why Ọ̀pọ̀ Omi Èrò. I'm not saying this is exactly what Mero is derived from. I'm just giving you what it likely means based on what Mero, the history of Mero region stands for. Mero stands as a business or places where different African tribes, either from Africa, either outside Africa, Caucasian, where they all meet to transact, to do business. It was a business hub. And that name, Mero, fitted the Yoruba people, Ibiti Ọ̀pọ̀, like a marketplace. So I'm not saying that it's exactly where the name is gotten from. I'm just saying it's correlated to what it means. If we further look into the biblical verses, it's also made us know that Oranmiyan, or aka King Solomon's political and administration, reaches the land of the Palestine. The question is, where was the ancient Palestine? The ancient Palestine is now today's Israel land. From Palestine, Philistine, it became Palestine, and from Palestine, it became Israel, just as Israel is trying to take everything. So the name of the land keeps changing, but realistically, thousands of years ago, that place is just an annex to Egypt, because the whole places are still in Northeast Africa. They are still under North Africa, which is Egyptian terrain. But in general outlook, all of these border, Palestine, Israel, all these places, they are annexed, and not just annexed, they also extended to the place we know as the Assyrian Empire today. This is where we are going. Because you have to stop looking history with the geographical map they gave us today. A Yoruba man in Yoruba land in today's Nigeria, like, I grew up knowing that my ancestor, not even up to 100 years, they used to walk by feet, spend about 2 days. They will leave Nigeria and walk by feet to today's Egypt, either for business. Some will say for Hajj, some will say for Umrah. They will go by feet. And it's all down to the fact that the continent of Africa wasn't subjected to border differentiation. We were not being restricted to colonies. So it's easier for people to intermix with different tribes. Ìlú la mama gba, ìlú kan sí kan kéréje. No one needs to stop you. You only have problem in ancient days if the village you're about to pass are doing land ritual cleanings, like Oru. But without that, they will welcome you. You will have your way. So we weren't limited to border. So from that Philistine, Egypt and Philistine, they are almost like the same place, but beyond there was what we know as the Assyrian. And when we are talking about Assyrian, we even saw it that there are different Yoruba. There are records that different Yoruba were not just in Assyria. They were part of those who founded the entire kingdom in Assyria. They became part of the political system of the Assyria. They predominated most of the political system in Assyria as far back as 70 AD, after they were being they were being ejected back as Jews into West Africa in reverse migration. And basically virtually all of them were in between the Oyo and the Benin people. Why Oyo and the Benin? The Oyo and the Benin from today's southwest of Nigeria, they are historically related to Oranmiyan. I hope you are getting it. So each time I said the Benin founded Japan, is because they are linked to Oranmiyan, the ancestor that rooted and conquered land up to Assyria. Each time they are called as the Oyo people, is just because Oranmiyan kingdom Kongo is still Oyo. They are the same people. So Oranmiyan has children with the Benin people. Oranmiyan also has children among the Oyo people. And through Oranmiyan, Oyo and the Benin people, mostly they became people who migrated, who followed the migration trend, the conquered land alongside with Oranmiyan down to Assyria. So after the Pildarab, the Turks, they invaded us. After the Turks and every other European nation like the French and co, they came into the mix. These people were collectively ejected back to West Africa. But even with that, in the book that we see today, that of the Eklangri, he gave us so many endless things regarding to how the ancient Assyrian Empire was. How the Assyrian Empire was, how these people under Assyrian Empire are actually Yoruba people who has now been given a new rebirth name after the real colonial people reinvaded the land and whiteified the law or Arabized the legacy. This is a common thing that happens today. Let me give you a good references. The original people of ancient Egyptian were black people. But what we see today, the history has now been rewritten or be repositioned or be reportrayed to look like the invaders. The invaders go as far as trying to even breaking the gnosis of the ancient black Egyptian and now forging new sculpture to look like them. That is how desperate they could be. Likewise in Israel land, the original Israel land are people of the Europeans, people of the Kazakhstan ancestry. They don't represent the history of those people there. Likewise, so it's common for those of the Middle Eastern civilization. They were being completely taken from the initial black dominant of the people that earlier lived there. Leading to why the author, the Eklange book, the author made us realize that even the term Ajaka, who is the brother for Oranmiyan, he is the same person of the Orid dynasty that existed between the 1884 to 1841. Oduduwa, who is the father of Oranmiyan, that's King David or King Solomon, he is also the person being renamed in abbreviation to Dud of the Tiamat Assyrian epoch ruler. And Shango Alaafin, the son of Oranmiyan, which is the grandson of King David, is also being referred to as the Shalmaneser III, aka Solomonun Asared, between the 1858 to 1825, and the list goes on. This is exactly how they took over every Yoruba history in Yoruba land, gave them new nicknames, and threw away their indigenous identity. So it's a repetition of atrocities that has been on for quite some time, not just in these cases. So even though I may not fully agree with how the language structurally arrange their time or the name, but we should not take the fact away that he was able to prove that these people are Yoruba Jews, they are Negroes, and Negro land is in West Africa. While the head time of Negro, their headquarters, their land of origin is Yoruba land of Ile-Ife, and they went there through Oranmiyan, through the same ancestral figure warriors that he listed to have ruled Assyrian before the white people came to turn everything upside down. You may not really understand now, but you will understand later at the end of this video why I concluded that these people were actually Oranmiyan who ruled. So aside the fact that these Oranmiyan people, they covered the civilizations of the Mesopotamian, they were responsible for as an army, as an warrior, as a fierce leader. Aside from that, we now have history book that now define them very well, who these people is. This history book now tell us that after civilizing Mesopotamia as the Assyrian or part of the Assyrian Empire, they became mixed with the white people. Some of them became mixed with the white people, even though Oranmiyan despised his black people from mixing with these white people. Oranmiyan, King Solomon, he despised his own black people from mixing with these white people. And there is a reason. Let me give you a good reference on how it is now. Like if you go to Surah Al-Baqarah 2 verse 102, the Almighty speaks about King Solomon. He was warning King Solomon there, restrain your people from enjoying in the people of Babylon. Assyria to Babylon is closer to each other on the map. He's telling Oranmiyan, restrain your black people. We know Jews are black. We know Israelites are black. So Oranmiyan is also obviously black. So the Almighty is saying, your black people who are Negro from West Africa, restrain them from learning anything from those who are from the Baghdad, who are from the Iran. Because these people, the Almighty uses the term Satan, which is why that Baghdad, Iran, is where the cursed Babylon is. They were doing all kinds of atrocity things. So it all makes sense that Oranmiyan despises his people from having anything to do with them, having them to dilute their blackness. But that is not even the case. After these people gain ground in Mesopotamia, history books now make us know that these people now left Mesopotamia, further extended to North Japan to founded the land. When they got to North Japan, they already made the people we know as the Ainu tribe. The Ainu tribe were occupying the southern Japan, while the Yoruba people were occupying the northern Japan. Even this book, The Epitome of the Ancient Japan, that was written by MacLeod, I think around the 17th century. That is what the book is called, The Epitome of the Ancient History of Japan by MacLeod. And I would just advise you, these books basically spoke about under new nickname He also, just like the Congo warrior, have their oral histories that this person is a warrior. The person who founded Congo kingdom was a warrior, was an hero, This book also related to something similar, that the person who founded Japan was also a warrior, and he is the very first man who founded the idea of what we know as samurai. He said the name of the person is known as Jemutemo. You know, if an European wants to talk about Oranmiyan now, they are likely to give him Mr. Smith. That same Mr. Smith, if an American wants to rewrite the story, the American is likely to give that name Mr. Columbus. So it's natural for different tribes to keep changing the name. But by the characteristics of that character, the attribute of that character, it's easier for us to tell that this is just one person under different description. So from the Japanese book, they named that same figure as the Jemutemo. And that Jemutemo, they dub him as the first samurai. The book even made us realize that later in Japan, 3 tribes now founded the Japanese empire, not just the Yoruba now. The first one are the Ainu. The Ainu were the one who dominated the southern part of the Japan. And some group of black African races from East Africa, based on findings, they are random people. They call them small tribe. Why the third ones are the black Jews. Black Jews are not just black Jews, they are the Negroes. The book is saying these are the third people who founded the Japan land. They are the black Jews, they are the Negroes. When we are talking about Jude or Judean or Judah Empire, is Ile-Ife. And when we are calling them Negro, they are Anago, Aniogo, that they are the people who enjoined them in founding Japanese empire, leading to why Japan's former capital name was Edo, because Edo, Benin City, and the Oyo, they were direct children of Oranmiyan, which is King David, that they are now being King Solomon, which they are now being renamed as Jemutemo. I hope you understand. Even till today, the culture of the Japan lies between the Edo and the Oyo names. It's all because Oranmiyan was the third party and his black Jews that left to West Africa to go and found the place. This story is very long. I had to just decide to make another book because it has a deep story and I put different step-by-step details in it. I'm at the brink of completing the book. So the Yoruba people will understand that Oranmiyan, not just Oduduwa now, is the one that made Yoruba people to be popular. Every civilization to Shanghai in China is all about Oranmiyan. And Shango Luke also is descendant. And they are also the Abrahamic King Solomon. So after, just like the original Muhammad come from Sudan through the Ijebus, just like the original Yeshua is of a Negro, but it goes back and forth, just like all these people. But now till today, you will see the pale Arab from Turks trying to claim Muhammad is from them, even though Muhammad is black. You will see the European too trying to claim that Jesus is from, Yeshua is from them. Even Yeshua in the Bible too is also described as a black man. This is exactly why they continue. You will continuously to see that the invaders that came later to Middle East, which is Northeast Africa, they are now continuing to portray themselves as the Solomonic dynasty. Judah, you will see they say they found tomb of Solomon in Middle East. They are wash whiting everything they founded there that were discovered that were established by the initial black people they ejected. That's as the Yoruba people that were ejected back to West. This is all what it means. I can't say much because English is not my father's language, so I may not be saying it fluently the way you people want it. But in my book, it will contain about 10 or 20 long pages. I detail it there, how Oranmiyan. So I will employ some of my Yoruba historians to think beyond Nigeria. Àwọn tán bàbá yín wà níta. You can't just let everything go like that. You have to know your families, your forgotten families. Think beyond the British border. Break it down in your mind. go and look for your families that are languishing in different parts of corners of Africa, so you understand how great we are. So this is where I shall be coming to an end in this video. Help me press the like button, help me turn off the notification bell, help me subscribe, and help me share my video. Every support will be welcome. Thank you everyone. Bye for now.